Hello again and welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be talking about Crooked I, former member of Slaughterhouse, and his tweet about his top 5 rappers. This is interesting because Crooked I is not some random guy on the internet and is a highly respected lyricist in hip-hop music, and similar to Jay, Kanye, Wayne, Kendrick, Rakim, Drake, DMX, and many others, he also considers Eminem to be one of the greatest. But when a regular Chad says Eminem is the greatest, Chad is shamed that he doesn't know real hip-hop music and he's only supporting Eminem because of M's appearance. But apparently, even highly respected MCs are no longer safe from the mob on Twitter, and Crooked I received some edgy tweets for including Eminem in his top 5 greatest list. Now we'll explore some of the responses he got and even try to draw out some patterns that fans should watch out for on social media. I see many fans wasting their time on social media in pointless arguments that they should know they can't win, and I know it's hard to resist, but many of you guys have to learn to hold it down, and towards the end of this video, I'd be showing you guys one of the most recurrent Eminem slanders in recent times, and it's a shame that people still use it even when I've debunked it on this channel several times with facts. Now, Crooked was asked, "What's your top 5 all time?" And he replied, "It can change at any time, but for now it's Tupac, J, M, Rakim, and Q." And you should see some of the responses he got after this. Now, before we continue, remember to smash the like button, it is free, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn on notifications. And some tweets sent Crooked's way show that even Crooked, that's been in the game and earned his respect, is not safe from the mob that always have the same points about Eminem. In this first tweet, which you can no longer see as the user has been suspended, just before I recorded this, he accused Crooked of being an Eminem D-rider for including Eminem in his top 5, and Crooked responded by stating, "It's your bedtime, bruv." And you know the mob always come out with the squad. The first reply says, "I sort of agree with that guy, to be honest. Picking M over Nas of all people is absurd, but I can respect the opinion of others, especially when they are skilled MCs themselves. M has nothing over Nas as far as making art that means something and resonates." This reply is coming from a guy that ironically stated he can respect the opinions of others, and see how he ends it with "M has nothing over Nas," and called Crooked's choice absurd, which means widely unreasonable, illogical, or inappropriate. So where's the respect exactly? So while stating he respects the opinion of others, he throws in a statement that insults Crooked at the same time. The guy that has now been suspended wasn't done throwing shade Crooked's way, and another one got Crooked's attention. This tweet that's now unavailable said Crooked only included Eminem because Eminem is his boss, so Crooked is biased because of that fact, and Crooked responded by stating, "How the F is M my boss? We haven't dropped an album on Shady in 7 years. Where the F does this angle come from?" Well, if you ask me, Crooked just showed that he's not had experience dealing with the mob on Twitter by giving this guy attention. Notice how they usually have the stance that for someone to be an Eminem fan and consider him one of the greatest, something else has to be involved that has to do with bias based on appearance or based on personal relationships, because in their mind, it's impossible for someone to consider Eminem a great artist without those factors. You know, I've said it in my previous videos how negative comments that are illogical usually stick out like a sore thumb when posted, and it gets a hold of attention more than 100 positive comments, and sadly, Crooked was responding to someone that didn't deserve a response. One of my subscribers in a previous video even did an experiment on this in the comment section to prove how negative comments have a gluing effect, and it worked. As you clicked on his comment to reply, the first reply under the negative one was the subscriber stating that he was just testing it out to see if it's true, and he was right. Now, under the original post where Crooked stated his top 5, you'd also notice that most people that had a problem with his list singled out Eminem. I say this on my channel every time, and it's been like an organized effort by the media and their minions for decades now to take a dump on Eminem, which is what motivated me to focus on Eminem on this channel by bringing out the truth and facts that don't care about how people feel on Twitter. This reply says, "M over Nas is blasphemy, Crook, and you know it. Did you see the audacity of this one? And you know it." I didn't know Crooked had Twitter users living in his head that know him more than he knows himself, and in all the people in Crooked's top 5, Eminem is singled out. Now, earlier I told you guys I was gonna reveal one of the most overused Eminem slander points. You still put M in there, the consistency album-wise is not there. But Eminem hasn't put out a good album in 15 years, and that was his third album. This user even clarified and said 17 years. Now, these opinions have been floating around for years now, despite all the facts that say otherwise, and even based on critical reception, the opinion that Eminem hasn't put out a good album since the Eminem Show is wrong. So I'm yet to see why they usually state it like it's a fact, and for those willing to have a discussion, it is until they are forced to back into a corner that they scream, "I was just stating my opinion." I don't take critical reception seriously, but even the aggregate critical reception from critics show that Eminem is yet to release a bad album, and you don't even want to get me started on commercial success, as Eminem is still outselling everyone in the industry anytime he drops an album. So where does that opinion come from? In 10 albums, people love to pick on Encore and Revival, so that's 2 in 8, and in my opinion, all 10 albums are great. From here, I'm gonna be talking about the whole album consistency thing that people think is a point to use to trash Eminem. I noticed that in an album, they take 2 or 3 songs at best and trash the whole album like they do with Encore. But that's an album with 19 songs in the deluxe edition. So in 19 songs, because you don't like 2 or 3 songs, the entire album is now considered trash. This is why I've never joined in on the Encore trashing bandwagon, since I believe it's absurd to trash an album because you didn't like 3 in 19 songs. I mean, take some time to think of this if you also joined in the Encore trashing bandwagon. Encore had more good songs than the number of tracks available on Kamikaze, and in fact from Encore alone, I have a couple of songs that I rank higher than anything some GOAT-tier rappers have produced in their entire careers, and I'm not kidding. There are songs in Encore that I believe tops even the best songs some GOAT-tier rappers ever made. Songs like Mockingbird and like Toy Soldiers easily. Relapse was also hated at first, but now many have come forward to call it their best Eminem album after the Eminem Show, and people like Tyler won't shut up about this. In fact, I believe he's been waiting for an album similar to Relapse, and this is the reason why he's been throwing a tantrum on Twitter anytime Eminem drops an album, because what he really wants is something like Relapse from his favorite rapper Eminem. Recovery was loved when it dropped, but those on the bandwagon these days love to hate on it. But it proved to be a double for Eminem critically and commercially, and spawned several certified songs for Eminem. I believe to this day it remains the Eminem album with the most certified songs last I checked. 9 songs certified, and remember, these songs released before the streaming era, when people had to actually purchase songs that they love. That's incredible. Now, the Marshall Mathers LP2 aced it critically and commercially. There's nothing to add. It's untouchable. And it's ironic that it's his 3rd highest rated album ever based on critical reception, an album that released late 2013. Kamikaze also aced it, but it was Revival that caused the most disturbance, since I believe it was because politics split his fanbase, so the haters got to celebrate for a few months before Kamikaze turned that smile to misery. From where I stand, I'm yet to see a rapper with a better discography, which is one of the reasons why I consider Eminem the greatest. And when it comes to number of classic songs, Eminem versus the others is like Tyson in his prime fighting amateurs. So overall, it shows that no one is safe from the mob, even top tier lyricists like Crooked, when they say Eminem is one of the greatest. And what do you guys think about this? Tell us in the comment section, and don't be afraid to state your opinion about Eminem online. Just don't waste your time to reply to the mob. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and see you on the next one.